So, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis, with me, Mark, and I'm once again joined by a wonderful guest. I have to find a different adjective because I used irrepressible for Randy yesterday. So I guess the incorrigible,
The
Jim,
roguish,
the roguish,
rakish.
the rakish Jim
A
from
little.
Mystery and Mayhem.
Hi, everybody. Rakish. There you go.
There we go.
Well,
So,
congratulations on 3 years.
3 years. It's five. I think it's not 5 years. It's 4
I thought
years.
it
Yeah.
was.
No, it was 3 years since I'd made a Q&A. So I got to 700 subscribers and I did a Q&A, and then I hadn't done one since. And I thought, well, I'm over 2,000 now. Maybe some people would be interested in asking a few questions. So yeah.
So how long has it been then, Mark?
It's my, I guess. Well, it is. I think it's 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it is 4 years. But the crazy thing is, it might be 4 years, but it's 697, I believe, or 96 videos.
Wow.
If we count this one.
That's pretty good.
It's when you think about it, it's quite a lot, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
I mean, it's nowhere, of course, in competition with someone like Steve Donahue, but for a normal mortal, it's quite a lot of videos, really. Quite a lot of time, I guess, I've put in so far. So
yeah, when you think about it, that's a lot. I mean, yeah, nobody can compare to Steve Donahue. I mean, when he does 4 or 5 in a day sometimes, if not more. Didn't he do a while back? Didn't he do like 8 in a day?
Yeah, like 8 in a day. Crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It is, yeah. And here I do like one a month lately. I really have to. June on the Range tomorrow, starting tomorrow. I'm going to jump in with both feet, and we should get lots of videos done.
So exciting, isn't it? And I have kind of held back. I know some of our compadres, possibly present company included in this, weren't able to completely hold back. I held back on the reading. I didn't hold back so much on the watching, but I'll get to that a bit later. I do have a question. What's your beverage of choice? Is it coffee?
This is coffee, but there's a little bit of rum in there.
Oh, well, you need that, right?
A little bit.
A little bit.
It's been a tough week. It's been a tough week. My car is well, it's got a muffler problem. It's got to have the muffler replaced. So I took it in yesterday. The guy didn't work on it. He says you got to take it in elsewhere because he didn't want to work on it. So I got an appointment Monday. I got to take it in, and at least it's still drivable, but the muffler's kind of hanging. It's not touching the ground. But
does it make that really loud noise like those boy racers?
Sounds like a tank. Sounds like a tank.
Okay.
And we were in the market for a new car very soon, but if this thing had held out just a little longer, but I still have to get it done because we still have to be mobile. But and other stuff going on. Just been a tough week in general.
Well, it's June on the Range, of course, so it's all going to get better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like you said, I've jumped in already. I read Ralph Compton, The California Trail, which was really good, and I enjoy Ralph Compton, but that particular story had some issues with it that were kind of questionable, which all kind of got straightened out in the end, but kind of made me like it concerned like possible preteen sex kind of stuff.
Okay.
Not to get too much into it. And I'm telling when I first read that in the book, I said, okay, I'm not sure I really want to read this if this is the way it's going. But it turned out okay. It didn't really go that way, but still, you had to wonder what the heck he was thinking when he wrote that. But it was enjoyable.
Maybe it's I hate to say it, but maybe it was indicative of the time. I mean, didn't Jerry? What's his name? Is it Jerry Lee Lewis? Yeah, the rock.
Well, yeah, he buried his cousin.
He was like a 13-year-old or something.
Yeah,
but
50s? that didn't make it right.
No. But what I'm saying is maybe it's just something he's giving some kind of not authenticity rather to life in the Old West, perhaps.
Yeah, it could be. Things were more desperate, and people were more, they would jump into relationships quicker because it was a certain survival thing, and life was short. I don't know, but that's just
it is difficult for us today to read it. Of course,
yeah, but straightened itself out in the end.
We have a few comments, a few people here. Dallas Does Books is here. Hello, glad to be with you. Hello, Dallas.
Hi, Dallas.
Farah is here. Hi, Mark and Jim. Nice to see you both.
Hi, Farah.
Gavin from Genre Books is here. Evening all.
Hi, Gavin.
Summer from Sterling Reads is here. Salutations. I thought Randy's puppet last live was Jim. So there we go. Yeah, maybe I could have just used them both.
Well, it's funny because I went looking for your post for our live, and I saw that one. I said, "Oh, there I am," but it was Randy. It was
Randy. The Muppet I made of you for the June on the Range group one. That actually looks good. I should have used that. But the fact is, I think you're holding the gun up, and I thought, oh, maybe.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Sorry, ChatGPT made it. I didn't do anything. I just described it and put it up a picture of you. So MFRCL Bailey and Miss Goldie Fawn. Hello there.
Hello.
June on the Range. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And then I suppose there might be someone familiar to you here, Jim.
Hey.
Hi, boys. Two of my favorite voices on YouTube.
That's my woman.
That's your woman. Back in the homestead.
Yeah. She's actually at work today.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, howdy.
She had to take the bus today because of the car, which is.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
I feel awful.
Is it too far or?
No, it's close by, and I don't worry so much, but sometimes she works late at night. And there's been some issues along that road in Hamilton that could be worrisome. So, I want to get that car going before she'd have to take the bus home at nighttime.
You don't walk down to the bus stop then?
You mean to me? Well, I was considering it.
Yeah. Put your cowboy hat on, head off.
Yeah.
Constance is here. Hi, all. And let's see, Dallas Does Books as well. You can say that you made it with ChatGPT, I think. When I bake the cake, unless I'm sitting on it, the oven does the work. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Thanks for that. That's absolutely right. Yeah. So, as we said, June on the Range kicks off tomorrow. I suppose that would have been better for Summer of Sport actually also kicks off tomorrow, and that's probably a better terminology. But we're going to concentrate, I guess, more on June on the Range today because I know obviously it's a massive event for you too, Jim. Alan's here. Hi, Alan. Good to see you.
Alan.
I had a really nice live with Alan last week, actually. He joined me on the Friday live, and it's really nice. Yeah,
I caught some of that. Like I caught some of your Q&A with Randy, but I only got it at the end of that last night or the night before Friday.
Yeah. Sorry, I have a bit of Elvis hair. It's just that
I got a cat. I know the feeling.
So, Western-wise, now I do tell a lie. I did slightly cheat today because I haven't finished. If I finish it tomorrow, probably all right. But I started because it was free on Audible. I started it's a novella plus a short story by Louis L'Amour. The book is entitled Big Country, and I think it's volume 1. I probably have it in the short story collection because I think it's the complete short story collection. And I can't remember the name of the story, but I was enjoying it because in it they're Englishmen. Some Englishmen out in the Wild West. And Louis L'Amour is like, when he's writing, some guy says, you'll be surprised. Many of the big cattle ranches out here are owned by Englishmen. And I thought, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We get everywhere.
It's funny. Like I was thinking of you the other day. You're doing your Texas voice for your video, and I'm thinking, you could have just stuck with your own voice because there was lots of. I mean, Louis L'Amour would have been the first one to tell you that the West was just populated with all kinds of different cultures and people from all over the world. You know, Germans and Dutchmen and Swedes and Englishmen, and you know, so yeah.
It must have been really fascinating hearing all those accents being spoken in the saloons and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Languages,
Would have been quite a time.
Definitely.
I'm actually reading Louis L'Amour right now, The Long Ride Home. This is one of the last few I had to get, and this is short stories.
Oh, okay.
The Long Ride Home. So that's what I've been reading today and yesterday.
Yeah.
I can't stay away from Louis L'Amour, honestly.
No. He's great fun. I mean, that's why I've got two novels, and then I thought I'll try volume 2 of the of short stories, or that's his frontier stories on this particular one. But I was laughing because when you were saying about the different people, I read yesterday Huckleberry Finn, and I found it quite amusing, the whole part. I'm guessing maybe you read it a while ago. If not, it doesn't matter.
Long time ago. I read Tom Sawyer and.
But there's these kind of con men who pretend to be like a duke and the lost Dauphin and whatever. But of course, they're all still speaking with their southern accents and stuff, which is quite funny. And you know, there's the so-called Duke of Bridgewater, I think, but the other guy keeps calling him Bilgewater. And I don't know. I'm easily pleased. Let's say I'm easily amused. Steve's here. Summer of sport, book trek, and plenty more. June is busy. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I've got my Star Trek books all ready to go. I scoured my bookshelves. I got them all together. Like, I had a whole lot more of Star Trek books. I got rid of a lot of them, but there's a few I kept. And there's three nonfiction ones I have. I'll show them in a video, and I've been meaning to do that. The World of Trek, The Making of Star Trek, and then Trouble with Tribbles, written by David Gerald. And I actually, once June on the Range is done, that's probably what I'm going to get into next, is reading some Star Trek stuff.
I guess the ultimate, though, would be to find a book that covers all 3 events. A book that somehow has sport as the main theme, played by cowboys on a different planet that the Star Trek people visit. That would be amazing. It's like the Holy Grail, the Holy Trinity of the month of June.
There's been so many written. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not out there somewhere.
So I have actually made a start on my second short story, by the way. My second 100 Acre Wood themed short story. And I think you would appreciate this one because it kind of dips in and out of the realms of the Western and the noir, the hard-boiled noir, because I don't think it's spoiling anything. I've already got a title. So
give it to me. Come on.
I'm going to give it to you. So picture this, right? 1920s Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
A legend of the Old West is eking out a living in his final years as a film consultant on silent westerns.
Mm-hmm. Which is true.
Which is true. Well, you see, that's why ChatGPT is brilliant, because, you know, rather than like having to research everything, going like, I literally said to it, I said, what was Wyatt Earp doing between 1925 and his death? And it said living in Hollywood, California, working on, a consultant on Western.
Still looking for that fortune.
Exactly. Perfect. Yeah. So I thought that's great. So then I thought, well, which character from 100 Acre Wood is in the public domain? And I could somehow have him appear in 1920s Hollywood. So I came up with Tigger. So it's Tigger and Wyatt Earp team up to solve a kidnapping and a murder that take place on one of the movie sets. And the title, personally, this for me was a bolt of inspirational lightning.
Yes.
Tigger and the Trigger.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Perfect.
There you go. So yeah, coming to my BookTube channel near you in the next month, probably, because I'd like to get it done during June on the Range.
Well, you knocked off the last one really quick. I'm still working like that Western story I started last June on the range. I wanted to finish it by tomorrow, but I haven't finished it. But it's I'm working on that too. But you're much quicker at that than I am, because you knocked that last Sherlock Holmes and Winnie the Pooh one off fairly quickly. You were sending that to me in installments.
Yeah, I think it was done in 2 days.
Yeah, a couple days, not long.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about this one, but because I'm not as comfortable trying to write maybe like a cowboy or like Wyatt Earp would speak, or even a hard-boiled detective, as I was with someone like Holmes. So a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but we shall see. I think I can manage Tigger okay, but we'll.
I don't know. I think you'll do okay. I think you'll do all right.
It's just fun coming up with them, because I thought I could just, rather than doing Winnie the Pooh and this, I could just bring in all sorts of different ones. It's kind of maybe a bit weird. I don't want them to come across as children's stories. Ultimately, the theme and thrust will be adult, but I also don't want it to be too, too cheesy. But just a bit of fun. Just a bit of fun. And I'm having fun, when I do eventually sit down and write these. So
well, that's the important thing, that you're having fun with it.
But I think it would be so nice to see more examples of booktubers reading out their own short stories, because there must be loads of them out there who just haven't, maybe don't have the confidence to read it out. I mean, I wouldn't have done, honestly, if it hadn't been for you, Jim. I took great comfort in your praise of it. And obviously my mum liked it because she's my mum, but
my mom was my best fan, my number one fan, but that, it's your mom.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't take them seriously, sadly, when it comes to being an impartial judge. And I didn't necessarily want to send it to Steve, for example, because, he probably gets bombarded with that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And plus I don't think I'm not sure he would have been as complimentary, maybe, and I can be a little bit fragile.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it was a different situation and you wanted to send it to me for that critical look, like I could have done that too. Yeah. But I mean, that's not what you were looking for.
No. Because I don't think I had any. I mean, I appreciate that if I was actually going to stick it in a book or something, it needs heavy editing, of course. I've been absolutely atrocious for some reason when it comes to commas and things. But I think I got away with it with reading it out loud. So maybe that meant that it worked out okay. So that's I guess good. The audio book is out before the printed book in this instance.
It would be perfect narrated in your voice. If you narrated your own book, that would be awesome. Your own short story.
And that's why I was, giving the old Wild West accent a little outing yesterday to try and get in the mood. So I have
but you're right. I think there's a lot of people out there who probably are writers, closet writers, and they're scared to get their stuff out there. And if they have a YouTube channel, maybe that's the perfect venue for reading it out loud and just running it by people. Yeah. I was gonna read a couple of short stories for June on the Range last year, not my own, but like Louis L'Amour and a couple from those anthologies I showed, the Lawman anthology. Like, they're beautiful stories, and I was just too busy running down a copyright. And I think you told me, you said I should just went ahead and read them. Anyway,
I think you had done. I mean, it would have been wrong, but you probably would have got away with it.
Probably, yeah.
And you are, of course, in Canada, not in the US, which makes a big difference too.
I didn't think of that.
Well, I mean, I don't know if she's gonna, because after all, no disrespect, and it would be the same for me. The amount of viewers that are actually going to watch it, the amount of royalties missed out on are really minimal. More than it would, I doubt it would be even worth her time pursuing you across the border, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And probably wouldn't even have heard of it. I heard that you'd done it. I mean, but it was. I think I admire you for asking. I mean, the thing is, I wouldn't have done it purely because I know he's not in the public domain, and it's something that has bothered me. Like, thinking about, I think when I wrote the first story, because it's over a year ago, with Winnie the Pooh. I don't think Tigger was in the public domain, so I probably couldn't have used him.
No, you mentioned that to me. You said no, you couldn't use Tigger because he wasn't in the public domain at the time. You know, but now he is, right?
Yeah, you have to be very careful because so many people have images of Winnie the Pooh, and it comes from Disney, and that's not in the public domain. The Disney depiction, the Disney pictures of him are not. You need the E.H. Shepard illustrations, which are, and I think some people can fall down. And I think this is where the that slasher movie they made with Winnie the Pooh, I don't know. I think that's maybe where it got itself into legal bother because it's Winnie the Pooh looked like Disney's Winnie the Pooh and not Shepard's Winnie the Pooh. So, you know, really be careful with these things. So
the original Winnie the Pooh books, I used to read them to my kids all the time. I had a hardcover one, and I used to read to my kids, and they were so brilliant. You know, just to read them out loud, just the way he had with words and the way he just his characters thought. I mean, they were so good. And then Disney got their hands on it, and they just dumbed it down. I mean, I like the Disney movies too, but they're not like the original Winnie the Pooh.
No. So a few more comments here. I was just thinking this, Dallas. Randy is also really putting out a lot of content lately too. I expect sometimes one or two from him. That's true. He's not quite up to Steve levels, but he is. He's making a good effort for that.
Oh, he's doing well. Yeah, he's doing really good.
And it was actually interesting. I don't know if you watched his video. I think it was today about starting a BookTube channel. Now, bizarrely,
I did.
My most successful video is about starting a BookTube channel. You know, I think it's over 10,000 views, which for me is just insanely incredible, right? And I think it's a good one to make. And I thought his advice was really sage, really interesting, because of course he does have that experience in marketing and SEOs and things like that. So,
and everybody's perspective is personal to them, which makes it interesting too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I did watch that. I think the one you did, that might have been, if I remember correctly, the first video of yours that I watched.
Yeah, maybe.
Or did you put that up after you and I met?
No, I think it might have been before. I think it's maybe.
I think that's how I first found your channel, was through that episode.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't go into it too much, but I think it's just the whole just give it a go kind of ethos, and just like, you've got nothing to lose. And, Steve always said that every book, I think Steve said this, apologies, Steve, if you're listening, you didn't, but I'm pretty sure, like, when he's talking about writing, getting people to writing, you're worried about if you'll find your audience, and, every book has its audience. Every book has its reader, kind of thing. And I think every channel has its audience, to some degree. I mean, there's always going to be people out there, who are somehow going to enjoy you. It may not be 50,000 people out there who enjoy you. It may only be 2,000, it may only be 300. But either way, it's...
And if it's just that little pool of people, I think that's awesome. And like Randy said in his video, and you just mentioned too, you just got to do it. You can't really sit back and think about it and plan this and plan that. If you really want to do it, you just got to do it. Just get your phone, film yourself, and just do it, and just carry on from there. That's the best advice.
We're always evolving. We're always trying different things, because I don't know what we're working towards. I mean, maybe all of us want to become, to some degree, like the next, Criminoli, or the next... who's bigger than him? I don't really watch that many big ones. Randy was talking about him yesterday. McAvoy, maybe.
Oh yeah. See, I never watched the big ones, and I don't aspire to that either. I just want to.
No, but then
I just wanted to connect with a few people who had the same likes that I do, and maybe make some friends and connections and talk about books. That's all I ever wanted to do. I really wasn't looking for a lot of subscribers or to be a success. Just talk about things that I love.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely that. I mean, I wouldn't do it otherwise. But I think deep down, I don't know, maybe if we admit it or not, we all kind of want to be somehow. You mean Ben McAvoy level? No way. No, I don't necessarily mean that. But like, I think nobody wants to be. You see, this is where when you live abroad so long, and you forget your own language. Nobody wants to be. It's a word like stationary. It's not statutory. Static. Nobody wants to feel like they've plateaued or static. There's an element of keeping the channel alive. It's a living thing where it does grow. Everyone talks about it growing, and I think I've actually seen mine receding, which has really been off-putting because I can't work it out. I think it must be bots or something. I'm hoping, because
could be.
I dropped like 12 subscribers since Steve came on. Actually, I'm only kidding.
But the thing is, Mark, like, even if you're not getting more subscribers, there's subscribers leaving and other subscribers coming in. So there's still fluctuation and flexibility there. I think whether you're getting all these followers or not, there's still people watching. I mean, even your old videos, there's still people engaging with your old videos, right? Like the best video I have is a Western video I did, like the first best Westerns you ever have to read or something like that. I forget the title, but it's at like 4,500 likes, and people like consistently, when I do check the stats, that's always up there. And so people are still watching it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I think maybe I'm not expressing it in the right way, but I think, because I find I keep chopping and changing things. It's like I'm almost looking for something, the validation to show that what I'm doing is working. But then if you don't have any goal, it's hard, otherwise you could just be completely static. I don't know. I mean, for some people, obviously, for Steve, it works, obviously. There's no editing. He just sits down and goes, no thumbnails, nothing.
Well, he's a good talker. He's got that going for him. I'm not a good talker, so I got to fake it in other ways. I got to figure other ways out to get people to watch. But he's a good talker, and that goes a long way.
Yeah,
and he could just sit and engage people, and that's half the battle right there.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. It's not something that I'm completely focused on in terms of I'm very, very happy. I never in a million years thought I would get to where I am now. But sometimes you can feel like, well, is so-and-so really that much better than me? And of course, in the end, it has nothing to do with that. And quite often they're not. A lot of the time it is luck, catching things at the right moment. And sometimes it can be a little bit disheartening. But with regards to the subscriber loss, it was weird because I went through all my videos and checked the analytics, and none of the videos caused it. So I think it must have been some kind of clear out, but it was still disparaging where, you climb over a milestone and then you rapidly fall back down again and you think, what happened there?
Yeah.
But we have a few comments. So we'll go to that. And actually, I want to talk to you about reading as well, and some films too, actually. So Constance says, nice. Looking forward to that new story. Thank you. Steve says, writing fiction is fun. I'll be starting 2 stories in June, one for June on the Range and one for Book Trek.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Dallas Does Books. Oh, Mark, you better not repeat all the disparaging things you were saying about Steve. Looking forward to some short stories from both you guys. Farah says, I'm not a writer, but I can imagine it's very hard to share your work publicly. So I really admire people that can do that.
Yeah.
Michele and Goldie, Star Trek Wagon Train to the Stars might fit June on the Range also. Well, there you go. Erin's here. Good evening, Mark, Jim, and all.
Hi, Erin.
Michele and Goldie, the original Winnie the Pooh books pre-Disney are lovely and peaceful. The artwork is so uncomplicated. I agree.
Yeah. It's funny you're talking about Star Trek Wagon Train to the Stars. That's basically how Gene Roddenberry described it, as Wagon Train to the Stars. And he did a show before that, a Western, which was a wagon train. I forget the name of it, but that's basically how he described it, and how he went into making the show. It was like a wagon train to the stars. So yeah, they called that one right.
Michele and Goldie, shall we campaign for subscribe? No. Yes, no.
You have a Patreon, Mark?
Yeah, I do, and actually, I enjoy doing that too. That's true. I do have that.
And how's that going?
It's going all right. Again, it fluctuates. You do lose people, but you can't expect people to hang around forever. especially in this climate. But yeah, it provides a little bit of pocket money, let's say, for buying books, which otherwise I probably wouldn't be able to do, at least not so regularly. Although, to be honest, I can't. I realize now I'm not going to be able to buy those. The new release of the green
Penguins.
Well, I will be able to, but I have this thing where I have to do it the day they come out because I'm so scared. Now I've kind of started to collect them. I'm so scared that I'll somehow miss one and it will become a problem because I've had to make a choice. This is where now I really feel like an adult for the first time at 45, where I had to make that financial choice. Like, do I buy a lawnmower and some stuff for the garden, which I really need?
Or do I get food for the table? Or do I buy
these books? Yeah, exactly. So I made a decision.
I've got so many unfinished sets of books, collections, because you start collecting them, then you just can't afford to get the rest, or something else comes by the wayside, and just incompleted sets of books. It's the worst thing. And then when you're able to, then you're scrambling to get the books that you need, and it's a whole thing.
I was thinking it's the best scenario, though, to be honest, because if I lose out on Elmore Leonard, it's not a massive problem. He's
Those
so ready available.
Books, though, man.
They are, but I think there are other really nice ones too. You can always find Elmore Leonard if you need to, probably, and I think those would be fairly safe as a they're not. They'll keep putting them out probably, at least. So the westerns, though, those Elmore Leonard westerns,
yeah.
Those are coming out in November, so that's different. But
you posted them, and I'm looking at them and saying, "Oh man, I might need to get those ones."
Yeah.
It's
so nice to see Penguin doing a Western range. I mean,
I
wonder sometimes these people, they do sit and watch YouTube, but then they would have put it out in June if they'd been affected by June on the Range, wouldn't they? Really, I mean,
hey man, if June on the Range keeps going, maybe it'll have that influence.
Maybe,
like what Criminale did for the that one book, and he got it republished again. If enough people, on June on the Range want to read these westerns, maybe there'll be reprints. Like, there's so many Western writers out there who are kind of forgotten now, like Ernest Haycox and all kinds of them, Will Henry, and I'd love to see them reprinted in newer paperbacks, and maybe that'll happen one day.
Well, you mentioned the other day the Edge books. I found a ton of them here in the Czech Republic in English.
Really?
And I almost got them. And again, same thing. I didn't buy any. I didn't put any in my cart that were like in poor condition, because it probably doesn't matter really the order and whatever. But I put a load in there, and again, it came to the checkout, and it's like,
I do that all the time.
I haven't bought a wardrobe yet, damn it! And here I am about to spend money on books that I don't really necessarily need, because I can read the ebooks of it just as easily. I mean, it's so nice to hold up the book and read the book, but they're so thin. It's like I'm going to read it, and then it's just going to collect dust for the rest of my life. Probably.
Oh God, I know the feeling well. And then it sits in your cart forever. Yeah. Until you have to make that decision.
Yeah.
But I've only read a few of those, like maybe 2 of those Edge books.
Yeah.
And I'm not. It's not that they're bad. It's just they're not the greatest written westerns. Like, my wife bought me a whole bunch of them. Like my first book haul, she bought me. She saw it on Facebook or where I forget where she got them, but a whole box of them. And the Adam Steele westerns and the Undertaker, and I've read a few of them, but they're not. I've read better westerns. Let's put it that way.
Well, I wonder if any of that's to do with the fact the author's English, not American. I know it shouldn't. I don't think
so. I don't think so. I think some of the British authors probably do it better than some of the guys from the States.
Do they? I didn't enjoy. Is it J.T. Edson? I liked it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed.
Yeah,
Henry Lamore, or even Alistair MacLean with his Breakheart Pass Western or whatever it is.
Breakheart Pass. I love that book. Yeah, I tried reading J.T. Edson. I wasn't. Yeah, I bought a whole bunch of them at the thrift store. There was a whole bunch of them. I bought about a dozen of them. I said, "Oh, cool!" I couldn't get them all, but I got about a dozen or so. I tried reading one. It wasn't the greatest. And yeah, he's British, right? You're saying
he is, yeah.
J.T. Edson.
Breakheart Pass, McLean's British, and I enjoyed it, but again, it felt like it wasn't written by the right person.
Breakheart Pass?
For me, yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. There was just something to it. I just thought, well,
where were you expecting more? Maybe you had a higher expectation before you read it.
See, I don't know. I'm not very good at this because I recently made a response video to Summer, actually, which will come out next week, about what makes a great novel. And, I had this issue with Lonesome Dove, right? Which I really like. And this is what it's hard to say. It's like, I really liked it. But there was something missing. And it's putting my finger on these things. I think I managed to do it in the video. I'm not going to spoil the video by saying exactly what I think it is here. But I can tell you afterwards, of course. But, I still want these beautiful people to watch the video when it comes out on Tuesday. But but I still, there's something, I don't know. And I have this sometimes with books where, especially books that are really popular, where people rave about them. And I read it, I'm like, it was good. But, I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on it. But we have a few comments, and we'll come back to this.
I don't know. Like Lonesome Dove, I liked a lot. But I think the Western story, I think it does best as a short story, believe it or not. I'm reading this. I have the three volumes from the Best of the West. Yeah. The Lawmen, Outlaws, and Gunfighters. And I read some of them, and they're all the best. And like you'd say, best of the best. And some of them had me in tears. They were so well written. And there was nothing missing from them. Like everything was there that you needed. And it just like they spoke to me in a very, very deep way, some of these stories. But it's hard to put your finger on.
I've fallen behind quite a bit. Hang on, I have to play catch up now. Our side of BookTube is about consistent quality, I believe. There's a whole sleek and sexy commercialized side, but honestly, we are the somewhat sad and lonely people who are just looking for connection, and I'll be the first to take ownership of that. And I think there's truth in that, actually. I was saying to someone the other day, was it? Oh, yeah, it was Randy when he asked me the question from one of my viewers about do many of my friends and colleagues here read? And I think, well, probably like a lot of people on BookTube, no. Yeah. Which is why we made the channel. When you watch the BookTube newbie tag, one of the things people say is they're looking to make those connections because, in their real life, there are not many people who read or at least read things they want to talk about. So,
I agree with that.
The sexiest among us is Randy and Steve. So that is saying something, right? We're all sexy, though, as Randy would say. As for sad and lonely, it's better to say misfit toys. We're the misfit toys. Well, yeah, I think there's an element in that.
I was on Reddit today, and there was a post that said, what are some of your favorite booktubers? And people would go in the comments and make a list of all their favorite booktubers. I didn't recognize one of them.
Yeah.
So there's different, patches of booktubers just throughout YouTube.
Yeah.
But we've got our own little corner, and that's fine with me.
Everyone mentions this own little corner, and I'm really curious as to where the edges of that corner are. Who are the people who are on the edge of this corner of BookTube? How do you know when you're in one corner or in another? And do you stride two corners? This kind of thing. Right? It's
like some of the bigger booktubers would never mention us. Like that Viking guy. I think Gareth tried to connect with him. And did kind of a top 30 video or so. I forget exactly what it was, but he tried to make a connection with him, but I don't think that worked because he's such a huge booktuber. He really doesn't want anything to do with us that are down here. So yeah, it's hard to find that line, and I don't think there's any bleed over as far as I know.
I hate to say it, and it's something I do feel often when I watch these big ones, which I don't watch very often. But when I
Me
do,
neither.
there is definitely some kind of what's the word? Oh my goodness, not ingenuity, disingenuineness about them. It's like there's something not genuine about them. There's something that comes across, and I don't know whether it's as I'm getting older and I'm getting more curmudgeonly, or I don't know, but I do find it very hard sometimes to take seriously some things young people are telling me about books. When you think, you've been around the block a few times by now, even more so by your age, and then even more so by Steve's age, right? So sometimes it's very hard. It's sometimes very hard to take seriously what some of these people put out there, and it sounds almost ageist.
It's always the same books. Like when you see them, it's always the same books. Oh, Fourth Wing. I've lost count of how many times I've seen somebody do a review of Fourth Wing on these big channels, or the Sarah Maas books, Court of Roses or whatever. Like it's the same books over and over and over again, and I'm not interested in that.
No.
But that's how they got big, because that's what people tune in for, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And their background's immaculate. They look immaculate. Their lighting's perfect. Their audio's perfect.
Yeah.
They don't stumble over their words.
Yeah, but they do what I hate. One of the things I really hate in a lot of these booktube channels that do it, and apologies if anyone watching does do it, but maybe hate's a strong word, but I find it distracting, is the constant cutting, because they have to cut every time they say a word, and you can see it because it's like,
I noticed that with some of them, and it's not like it's part of it's right in the same sentence. Like they'll do one word and the next word in the sentence, but there's a cut right there. I've noticed that, and I've done cuts in my videos, but not like that. Like if I go, and I hesitate and I think, what the hell I'm trying to say, and I'll cut that out. But they're doing it in the middle of a sentence as they're just talking.
I don't even cut that out, to be honest. I did a minimal bit of editing today because my phone ran out of space. Because I guess I've got too many, messages or photos or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I had to cut in the middle to put the two halves together once I deleted something. But I left in this thing where I was talking about the great novel, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then left in my process where I'm like, does that make sense? Does that make sense? I'm not sure it makes sense. Yes, it makes sense, but it might not make sense on this particular level. And I just went off,
And that's cool. That's good. But I have to cut mine because half the time I'm a gibbering moron when I'm talking onto the camera, and it's just I can't leave that in. I got to take that out. But I mean, you doing that, that's fine.
But Jim, if you're in the pub with someone having a chat over a beer, you're not cutting, you're not editing yourself.
Yeah.
The same thing. I think if you're sitting here talking to people here, you kind of you want to be genuine. I'm gonna because
I have no idea what I'm gonna say when I go into this. I'm trying to remember details. Like if it's just you and me talking, we're having a conversation. It's back and forth. It's got a flow to it. But when I'm just sitting there by myself, it just does not flow.
You need Mrs. Mystery Mayhem to stand behind your camera.
Well, I've thought of that before, because Roy has Dr. Jenny behind, like over by him, and he interacts with her and engages with her. And I think, in a way, it's almost like he's talking for her.
Yeah.
And I've thought of that sometimes. Like, I don't, like, if she's in the house, I don't do videos.
Yeah.
Because I have to have nobody around to do videos, because it's like, I don't know, it's embarrassing to me or something. I don't know. So sometimes if you don't see me, I haven't posted a video for a while. It's because she's been home and I haven't had a chance to do it, But I've thought of that. Maybe if I had her here and it was just like I was talking to her, maybe that would work. Maybe, who knows?
Get a mirror, stick it behind your camera and talk to yourself.
I was thinking of getting a picture of my kids up, like, because like I'm talking to one of my kids or something like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, it is a funny thing how people do have problems with that.
Yeah.
For me, the biggest boost to being able to start this channel and do it was COVID, because I had to start the online lessons, and I was starting to put out lessons on YouTube for my kids, yeah, at school. And then I thought, well, I might as well just do it anyway. So maybe that made me a bit more relaxed because I had that little bit of experience. But anyway, must look through these. So where are we? Summer. When I got to 500, I felt like I'd made it. If I had too many subscribers, I wouldn't have the time for comments. And since I don't edit or entertain, I'm thankful that people watch me. That's not entirely true. I think everybody, certainly here in the chat, who has channels, and all the people I watch generally, obviously have some element of entertainment to them, which is why you watch them anyway, right? As an audience. But I agree there, because I'm the worst. I have to say, I'm so thankful people do stick with me, because I'm actually one of the worst at getting back in comments.
Oh,
I feel so guilty when people write a whole essay, and then sometimes I just choose the standard reply that comes in there. It's like, awesome, thank you, smiley face. It's like, oh no, it's so hard because work and stuff and everything. It's like, oh no, I feel terrible.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
I'm still okay replying to everybody so far. I might miss one or two that for some reason doesn't come up, but when I see them, I do reply to them. And my wife gives me heck. She says, "Well, why are you replying to them now? As soon as I see it." She says, "Just let it wait and then reply to them later." But then they stack up.
They stack
and
up,
then I forget about it. Then I have more to catch up to. So yeah, I'm gonna answer now and stay caught up.
Right? And then sometimes YouTube, for some unknown reason, withholds comments, and you find out later that you've ignored someone for like 3 months, and they've been commenting in every video, and you think, what?
That happens.
It does. Farah says, I feel the same. I feel like 1,000 subscribers, I have a plenty for me to interact with, but I see what you mean. At least a slow, steady growth feels like you're doing something right. Yeah, I think there is that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to see your channel get not, ridiculously huge, but that rolling growth maybe is a nice feeling. Everybody would like to finish the year with probably more viewers, more subscribers than they started the year with.
Yeah, that's true.
But too many, and I would probably be overwhelmed and feel bad if I couldn't personally reply back to everyone. Yeah, I don't know if Ollie does anymore. I know for a while. I know when he was in the 20,000s, it looked like he was still at least replying to every comment, or at least hearting everything. But I haven't really seen recently.
I imagine there's a point where just you can't answer everybody. You can't reply to everybody. It's just too many.
Steve, all this talk of online shopping carts is making me even more grateful for the Brattles $1 carts.
Yeah. I got some beautiful vintage paperbacks from my local thrift store the other day for $1. I couldn't believe it. But that's lovely. Just going into a bookstore and just seeing these lovely dollar paperbacks or books. Yeah. One of these days I'll get to the Brattle and check out their carts.
Yeah, it's one of the things I miss living here. I'm not going to lie. That is one of the hardest things. I think when I was asked that question yesterday in the Q&A, it was, good bookshops, good Chinese food, and Marmite. So those are the three things I miss the most. Obviously family, but it goes without saying. I'm looking forward to the video. Yeah, I think it's out on Tuesday, summer. So Michaela and Goldie, I've recently found this area of BookTube. I like the content of knowledge sharing here versus self-absorbed YouTubers who are more interested in numbers over quality. And I would say that hits the nail on the head. When I'm sitting here talking with the likes of you, Steve, Sean, Randy, ATD, not ATD, that's Czech, etc. Apologies if I don't mention you. Just I'm sitting in the presence of a vast amount of book knowledge over different genres, different things, and it's just something you don't feel, I think, when you go to some of those other bigger channels. There's that experience, that life lived around books. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, and so many people like that here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody's unique. Everybody has their own unique interests and their own niche interests that, you might not necessarily have thought of yourself, but it's interesting to see their outlook and their view on things. Yeah. It's wonderful here, honestly.
Yeah, it is. It is. The conversations have been, because I just wouldn't get them in real life. Despite being in a foreign country, even if I was back in England, I don't think too many of my friends would be that interested sitting around in the pub talking about the books we were reading and things. So, one of the signs of difference, you don't stop mid-sentence to advertise a product to me. And that's a big difference. Well, it's funny you should say that, because I'm very thirsty and I feel it very important to stay hydrated. I recently bought this one.
Now that's something interesting though. Like I pay for premium YouTube.
Yeah.
But I think people who don't pay for it, like they're watching our channels and they're still getting commercials, right? They're still getting ads.
Yeah, but I think what Dallas means though is the actual when the
booktuber stops and says, "Hey, I've got this. I have this light that I love that I read my book from, and it's from so and so Amazon or whatever." Yeah,
use my link and mention my name and get 25% off.
I don't think I'll ever do that, but I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't begrudge anybody making money. If that's what you have to do to make a living and make some money, I mean, that's fine.
I think in some ways I respect it more when it's a massive channel that does it, because you think maybe it's more worthwhile. I don't know. But when you see, like, I don't know, a smaller one maybe doing it, who you think obviously maybe, I don't know if they need the money more or whatever, but it just seems a bit out of place, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like you can almost forgive it a bit more in a channel of 100,000 saying, yeah, head over to NordVPN, which I will actually say, I got through my bank and I've been using it recently. It's actually pretty good, but I'm not endorsed by them. So what was I saying? Yes, Steve's here. By Steve's age, what could that possibly mean? Yeah, as Jim said, a young 20.
I said you're 27. Aren't you 27? Or maybe it's 29. I forget.
I think he's been 27 for a good few years now. Better to phrase it as Steve's seasoning. Libra Paradiso comic book channels are similar. They have their own circles, so it's very creepy.
Yes. I watch a lot of them, Libra Paradiso. Yeah, I like comic book channels. A lot of them are pretty good. And of course, there's Epic Comic Book Wednesday too, which is top of the list from Michael K. Vaughan and Steve Donahue.
Yeah, I have to confess to not watching it. It's only purely because I just don't read comic books, really.
Oh, there's only two of us that watch it.
Okay, you and
Hannah.
All right, okay. Apparently, each of those cuts designate a new TikTok clip.
Oh,
that's horrific.
That makes sense. Okay.
I'm neither sad nor lonely, but high functioning on the spectrum, and this platform has made it easy for me to find people who communicate in ways that are comfortable for me. I get to pick people. Yeah, that's really nice. I think that's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting point there. I do like him talking with Jenny. So we are. Yeah. You see, there've been quite a few comments.
I think Roy is like my favorite channel. No offense to anybody here, but Roy Reads Anything's probably my favorite channel.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's talking about.
I think it was about not being able to make videos when she's around.
Oh, so
we are a bit behind.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very difficult, that particular thing. I can see what you mean. I mean, Roy's great. And I guess when you take things all rounded, you probably have more hits with him than you have with others. And that's normal in terms of what grabs you. But when people ask me, like, who are my favorite booktubers, it's very hard because sometimes there are people who I look on as have become good booktube friends, but I'm not that interested in their content.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against the person. It's just because, well, let's say look at Michael K. Vaughan and the Comic Book Wednesday. So I'm not watching that.
Yeah.
K. Vaughan's great. He puts out great videos, but I don't watch all of them. Even Sean, don't watch all his videos. I don't watch all your videos.
Yeah.
To be honest, I probably watch I don't actually watch a huge amount of BookTube because I don't know where other people find the time to read, make BookTube content, and then watch it as well. But,
that's it. There's so many people I follow now, and there's no possible way I could watch everybody. So I just kind of have to cherry pick, and just
and that's where the titles and the thumbnails can be important because that's gonna be what draws in your viewers probably that are actually already subscribed to you.
It's a little bizarre, my wife commenting on our live stream. I just find that a little surreal, to be honest.
She's not at the stage where she's like, honey, what's for dinner tonight?
Well,
don't forget to take the trash out, Jim.
Yeah. Feed the cat. Don't forget to feed the cat.
Oh dear. I hope you're not just sitting there in your underpants again, doing nothing. So I actually did that the other day. I made a video. I think it was my Q&A announcement video. I made it and I wanted to show Elvis because he was sitting beside me. And I pulled the camera down and realized afterwards that, I'm in my underwear. I was like, literally just, didn't bother. And
I didn't even notice. I watched that video. I didn't even notice.
No. I re-recorded it. I re-recorded it. No, I completely re-recorded it. But I sent it to a friend of mine and said, hey, do you think I can get away with just... Because I said afterwards, oh, yeah, I'm wearing shorts. It's a hot day. I was like, do you think I can get away with those being shorts, rather short shorts? And they were like, no, definitely underpants. Just to confirm today, I can confirm. You can see I am actually wearing trousers there. There's no... It doesn't really show off very well.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. I didn't want anyone to think I was just kind of pulling a Steve here and, being bottomless. Although I think Steve's more topless, isn't he, in his Zooms with people. Must feel weird to do a video if someone else is in the home.
Yeah.
Robert E. Howard wrote Powerful Westerns. One I remember is about a scalped man attempting to stay alive. It is a wonderful story. In comics, Jonah Hex and Blueberry by Mobius are excellent.
Yeah. Yep.
Farah says, Jim, I'm the same. Actually, I should have put that video on me and my pants on my Patreon, right?
Oh, there you go.
The extra
people pay for it. Yeah. Next time.
See you later, Mark. I'm off. Jim, I'm the same way. The words don't always flow for me either. I have to edit out many word fumbles.
Yeah, me too. Well, your videos are so good, though, Farah. I mean, she'll do little vlog things too, like outside shots, and her videos are so good.
Lovely, aren't they?
Yeah,
she just lives in a lovely part of the world, and they're just very soothing. I very much enjoy Farah's content. Yeah. As well, seeing the countryside there and the nature.
Very, very peaceful. Very, very nice videos to watch.
Yeah, and nice, relaxing voice too.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. At least you reply. I don't with other channels that don't reply. I don't bother with other channels that don't reply. Lou's here. Hi, hey y'all.
Howdy.
The Brattle has good Chinese food around the corner, but no Marmite though. I'm sure there must be an English supermarket of sorts though in a city like Boston. I imagine you probably can buy Marmite somewhere.
Well, we get Marmite up here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you could find it down there.
What the hell was that? Oh. Sometimes these insects fly into my window, and they're actually quite loud. So, yeah, I don't know.
You didn't build your house on a cemetery or anything like that.
Oh yeah, old Indian burial ground.
Indian burial ground
in Central Europe. Yeah. Jim has a great reading voice. I don't listen to audiobooks, but if you did one, I would listen to it.
See, I would love to do that. People keep saying that, and I have no idea how to go about doing that. I would love to try something like that. And if I could make some money from it, make a supplement the income, I would do that in a New York minute if I could.
You can just do it yourself with public domain content and put it on Amazon, on Audible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same with the KDP or whatever it is called, Kindle Direct Publishing. Just record your own and stick it up on Audible.
Actually, I did look into that, and there's tests you have to go through with your voice, and you have to get it within a certain modulation and frequency and stuff like that. And I couldn't get the hang of it for some reason, and before it accepts the voice file or something like that, I'd have to look into it again. But
well, it's probably similar to how KDP is with like accepting the document, right? It has that parameters. You're welcome, Farah. It's our pleasure, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I second that Jim's reading voice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
both of us.
I was going to say,
Lila loves your voice. Two best voices on BookTube right here.
That's what she said. But I'll try not to take offense from Libro Paradiso and Michaela and Goldie then. But as an accent expert, as you well know, Jim, yes. How are you with accents? Because that would be a part of, I think, reading audiobooks, unless you read only nonfiction.
I used to be better at accents, but when I try it now, it does not work. I can do a fair to middling Sean Connery accent, but that's about it.
When you say something like that, Jim, you're going to have to demonstrate it.
later, not right now.
Mish Money Penny. 007.
Yeah, he's got quite the voice, Sean Connery. And it's funny because I've been told that before. I went into a Tim Hortons one morning. This was years ago, and the lady behind the counter said, "You sound like Sean Connery when you talk." She said, which was it? Like that was without the Scottish accent, but that was interesting. I thought
the name's Jim from Mystery and Mayhem. I don't know. I used to try to like doing Yoda or somebody, nice voice you have.
That's good, actually. That's pretty good, Mark.
I don't know, but it's fun. But the thing I would struggle with the audiobooks is the consistency of keeping the same accent for the same characters. I really admire how they do that, and I don't know whether they color code things for I don't know how they actually. I'd love to see the process of reading, because I'm pretty sure they surely just don't go in with the book and just read. They must have it probably in a larger format on a screen, and I don't know if it's like an auto cue and it just flows up at the right speed for them, or
and I think it's done professionally so that when they fumble, they can just cut it there and just carry on from that point and just edit it seamlessly. See you just doing those voices now, you did very good because you're not self-conscious about it. See, but me,
I don't care.
No, is it right?
Because what's the point? You can just laugh about it.
Yes.
It's like there was a great thing on the radio, because I really love listening to the radio in the mornings, and I listen to talk radio.
Oh, me too. Me too. Yeah.
LBC, and I always catch the early morning show, and he's a bit more kind of less serious than when they get on through the morning. From like 8 a.m. it starts to get really serious. I think he gets serious about 7, but the early part from 4 a.m. through is a little bit less serious. And they have this thing where they have when his show starts, it just has the cock crowing, and then this like voice from the English Big Brother where it's like 4 a.m. In the Big Brother house or something like that. It was from northeast of England.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is they were deciding what to do for 5 a.m. And this guy said, they had people requesting songs or whatever. And this guy said, well, how about a nice impression of some tweeting birds? And the guy's like, can you do this impression of tweeting birds? And the guy's like, sure I can. He's like, like literally that bad, right? Like that bad. And he's like, okay, was that birds tweeting?
I got a hole in my tooth. It's perfect for whistling.
That's brilliant.
That was not bad.
It was so bad. And they chose it, though. They decided to do it. So I don't know if you ever remember the show Thunderbirds.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
very well.
5 o'clock, just after the news, when it comes back to the program, guys, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So ridiculous, but I don't know why. I just find myself laughing at 6 a.m. here, 5 a.m. in England. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's brilliant bird impression. That's great. Do it again.
Not bad. Not bad, eh?
Freaking great. I think you need a new channel or something where you could.
If I could make money from that, I'd be golden.
Yeah. Brilliant. Oh my god. Where are we? That's thrown me. That's really great. Marmite is on the shelves in Kroger in Tennessee. Just say welcome to the Rock, Jim. Can you say that?
Welcome to the Rock.
Losers complain about their best. Best.
The man who takes Damascus holds the fate of all Arabia in his hand.
That's not bad, actually. Yeah. Losers complain about their best.
Welcome to the Rock.
Winners go home and the prom queen.
So you're very good at that, Mark. You do a good job.
Mark wins the British voice and Jim the Canadian voice. Can you do a British accent apart from Connery?
No, I'm not very good at British accents. I don't know why. I think because it's all dialects, right? It's all different. Like I'd probably mix them all up.
There's that. I think most people, when they do try, I think they find the posher accent a bit easier, don't they? Maybe. So,
yeah.
But obviously, you had your king was visiting you recently, so I'm surprised you didn't go down and say hello. Tally ho, Charles.
Yeah, he did quite the throne speech there. The parliamentary speech he did, about a half an hour speech.
It's nice Trudeau dressed up for him, eh?
Yeah, Trudeau sitting beside Stephen Harper. It was odd to hear King Charles talking about, just things like that, about housing and taxes and all that kind of stuff that he was going on about. A little odd.
Just think, if it hadn't been for that little scuffle in 1776, your cousin south of the border could have been enjoying such a moment as well.
Yeah.
Although I guess there may not have been a border, of course, had they not gone independent.
Well, it was nice to see him, actually. It's not that I'm big on the royalty or the crown, but I think it just gave a bit of a nice bit of pride in Canada. And he talked about sovereignty, and he was doing an indirect message to south of the border, like Canada's not for sale kind of thing, and that was kind of nice to see.
Canada's not for sale, eh?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about, eh?
Oh gosh, Sean gets so annoyed when I do that. He's like, I don't say a boot. And I'm like, you just did.
I saw that. I saw you do that one. Yeah.
I don't say a boot. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep forgetting Sean's Canadian. Yeah,
I think a lot of people think he's American. Oh dear. Take no offense, Mark. I listen to PBS, Acorn, BBC because UK accents are more soothing and understandable for me. So you are wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And Ego Paradiso, are you here to soothe my ego too? No.
See, that's an immediate advantage when you have that accent. That's an immediate advantage, voice-wise, is you have that. You just immediately puts people at ease, I think. Yeah. I don't know why. It just that's just the way it is.
Don't panic. We're British, right? That putting you at ease.
Yeah.
Greg's here. Howdy, Greg. I'm here. The party can begin.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah. Yes, of course. One of our new members in the cohort.
Range posse, yeah.
Range, yeah. I mean, it's an event made for him, though, isn't it? I mean, to be fair. I mean, just look. You can see the picture there. I mean, completely fits in.
Yeah.
I once did a play that required an English accent. I was so bad at it, I forgot to even try in my first scene one night. It's It can be tough. I mean, everybody always remembers old Dick Van Dyke, of course, in Mary Poppins.
Yeah. His bad English accent. Yeah. I mean, you're almost better off if you're not good at something like Sean Connery. I mean, he played a Russian commander in this submarine movie, and it was his regular accent, his regular voice. He didn't even try to do a Russian accent, probably rightly so, because he probably would have butchered it. So he just did his own voice, his own accent.
Thanks. Lou, I've forgotten now what you're saying. Thanks. Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Rock. Farah's got a big compliment for you there. I was looking down when Jim did the bird sound, and I 100% thought it was a real bird.
That's funny.
Although I think it actually sounds more like a group of birds, though, doesn't it? That's so good.
I used to be able to shoot water out of my teeth.
Yeah, but I have the gap tooth too, but I can't even whistle.
That's the only like my wife can do, like the you put your fingers in your mouth, you do a shrill whistle. I've never been able to do that.
No.
Never in my life. I can whistle. I can do that, and I can whistle through my teeth, but that shrill kind of thing, I can't do that. She's tried to teach me time and time again. I just can't do that.
I don't know. I think we've got to find you some kind of use for your bird call though. That's just great. I mean, if anyone needs like that sound effect on their channel, you could like somehow flog it.
Yeah.
Constance, I'm not sure what you mean. Pig calling, guys.
Pig calling.
Maybe we no the calling a pig. You know, here, piggy, piggy, piggy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a way to call pigs apparently.
Yeah. Wee.
Yeah, like suey or something.
Suey. I can't do, it's like yodeling, you know. I can't do that too.
If I didn't try to do Sean Connery, I'm not going to try to do that.
How are you with like a John Wayne? Because you've got the deep voice, you know.
Yeah.
The hell I will. No.
Fill your hands, you sons of bitches.
You know, actually, it was funny. I had something on the other day. I think it wasn't the best of westerns. It was just a bit of fun. The Hallelujah Trail.
The Hallelujah Trail.
It's the one where Burt Lancaster and there's all these temperance women and they're trying to get it's got Donald Pleasance in it as this oracle, and they want to get a shipment of whiskey to Denver.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I've never
seen it.
No,
it's funny. So like, you know, you end up with like them realizing they're going to run out of whiskey before the winter sets in. Then they send off to some town just over the mountains to send a shipment of whiskey, and they need an escort. They need an escort of cavalry.
Yeah.
The Native Americans, or I think now again we're supposed to call them American Indians. Apparently, I heard again. This is the new.
I don't know.
You know,
yeah.
Hear about it. So they set off to intercept it. At the fort where the soldiers were, there's a whole band of temperance women who want to intercept it as well now and head off towards Denver in Colorado to make everybody give up drinking. Then the men in the town hear something. So basically, they're all converging on the desert on this whiskey thing. It's quite amusing. But the reason I mention it is because I wasn't looking at it. And this guy comes and he starts talking. I thought, oh, it's John Wayne. And I look up and it isn't. It was Brian Keith, the actor, if you know him. Brian Keith,
yeah, all very well.
They actually sound almost the same. If you don't look,
you
hear like his shouting and his voice. I don't know if it's in all his movies, but definitely in this one. I thought, oh my God, that is like literally the sound of John Wayne.
I think they almost hired him for movies when they couldn't get John Wayne. They'd get Brian Keith as kind of a poor man's John Wayne.
Yeah. He's kind of good.
And he was in a TV series too, a Western TV series, Brian Keith, where he was the lead. I forget the name of it, but yeah. he's got a good history with westerns, Brian Keith.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Hallelujah Trail. I'm gonna have to look. So it's played for laughs. Then it's like humorous.
Yeah. It is.
I
Yeah.
kind of like the James Garner support your local sheriff and support your local gunfighter.
I
Those
watched
two?
it 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah,
And I think I prefer support your local sheriff.
that was
Maybe it's
probably
better.
the first one.
That's the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
were a lot of fun.
They were. Yeah, really good. And I've been watching a few. I've been watching a few Robert Mitchum ones as well.
Yeah.
But I will tell you about this little marathon I did last week after we get through the comments. So
Okay.
I venture to say that most Americans, no matter what your political views are, think the whole Canada as the 51st state is ridiculous. We love you, Canada, eh?
Thank you, Lou. Yeah, we love you too. That's
There you go.
nice to say. I think most Americans probably support us like that. I mean, the whole idea is ridiculous. Everybody knows it's ridiculous, but yeah, thank you, Lou. That's very nice.
Sweet. And Michaela and Goldie, Donald Pleasance. Yeah, how did you come to be interested in Old West? I just always watched them.
Oh,
I never read them.
I grew up on them, old westerns. Love them.
Yeah, I think my grandma really liked them. So they would often be on a Sunday afternoon. As I say, I never read them before June on the Range, but I always watched them. I always enjoyed watching them.
Really?
I always enjoyed watching them on telly.
But you'd never read a western up until that point.
I never thought about it, to be honest. I always thought of it more as a film genre than actually a book thing, right?
Yeah. I can't remember ever not loving westerns or even reading westerns. I mean, I go on about the first one I read was a Ferguson rifle, but I think probably the first one I read was a Tom West double ace western, The Phantom Pistolier, and The Lost Loot of Kitty Cat Ranch. I'm pretty sure that's the first western I read. And then once I was just a kid, and once my aunt knew that I liked reading westerns, she kept bringing me these western books, western novels. Every time we'd see her, she'd bring me and hand me a western paperback. But I grew up on old westerns on TV, and the old TV shows like Maverick. Watched Maverick all the time, and Bonanza it was everywhere. I mean, it was just part of the landscape. And Bonanza's on TV. You turn it on and watch Bonanza.
I've been to the Ponderosa Ranch in Nevada.
Were you really?
I was, yeah. I think it's closed down now.
Yeah.
They're back in 1990, I think, 1989.
Oh, that's cool.
It was pretty cool because they did the Wild West show. You could look around the ranch, of course. They had I forget his name, Chinese cook in the kitchen as a mannequin,
Hop Sing.
Yeah.
Hop Sing.
And then you could pan for gold. It was great. I had a great time.
How old were you at the time?
10.
Oh, so perfect. For a 10-year-old, that's perfect.
Because, the reruns would be on TBS or whatever, because in Bermuda we had most of the American cable net channels and stuff. So it wasn't alien to me at all. And, my parents even grew up watching it, of course, in England back in the 50s and 60s, I guess.
Yeah.
Was it 50s? 60s? Definitely 60s in me, but maybe
60s for Bonanza, yeah.
Yeah, 60s. Yeah.
50s would have been a little early for Bonanza.
So it wasn't, completely alien. So yeah, and we all had a great time there. I have to say, it was good.
We had a Ponderosa restaurant way back in the day. I don't know if you remember them. The Westerner. That's it, Greg. Yeah, Brian Keith was in the Westerner. Yeah.
So I'm going to say, I don't know how you're doing for time. I won't say too much longer because I have to take Elvis out. But I think you would appreciate this more than most other people, probably, speaking about older films that are not necessarily good films. But I can't remember why I started it, but I clicked on one of the streaming services. They had the film Mr. Majestic with Charles Bronson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've got to get my melons in.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and then I got thinking, it was good. It was good fun.
Yeah.
And I got thinking that, what was that series he did with the vigilante. Oh, Death Wish. Yeah, I remember. And I thought, well, I've seen Death Wish 1, and I know I've seen another one. It turned out it was Death Wish 3, but I'd never seen 2, 4, and 5. Right?
Yeah, he did a few.
And I did my marathon. I watched them over the course of a couple of days. I thought I'd get them all done in one day, but
yeah,
I had great fun with it. I mean, they get kind of worse.
They diminish as
somehow also better in terms of like the way people get killed. It gets more brutal as it goes on.
Yeah, but more creative in his killing.
yeah, it's really by Death Wish 5, he like he burns someone in an acid bath. Oh, it's horrific. Although I think maybe in Death Wish 4 is my favorite, where he shoots the grenade launcher at one of the bad guys. He's just standing there. But
yeah,
this is great fun. But then, I mean, they're terribly brutal, the first 3, because Michael Winner did them, and there's quite brutal, sexual violence in it. But it's quite sick as well that his daughter goes through that and goes mad in the first one, and then goes through it again and gets murdered in the second one. I'm thinking, what kind of twisted mind came up with this stuff? But what I was going to say about it was, what was weird was how in the first one, the chief perpetrator of these crimes is Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, he was
in his first role.
That's right, on the subway or something, right?
They go to his house. When his wife and daughter's home, and he does most of the beating and stuff. He's brutal.
Jeff Goldblum, yeah.
He's all looks like Jeff Goldblum. And then the second one I'm watching, and again, one of the chief gang members or perpetrators is Lawrence Fishburne. It's weird. And then I guess they get less famous as they go on, because in the third one, the chief, one of the main bad guys, is Alex Winter, who, of course, is Bill or Ted. I can never remember which one from Bill and Ted's. Not Keanu Reeves, obviously.
Oh, the other guy. The other guy.
Oh, the other guy, yeah.
Which we never hear from except in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures.
Actually, he has had a career.
Really?
Obviously, Keanu Reeves is shot. And apparently, he and Keanu Reeves are doing or were doing.
They came back they did one just recently where they came back as an older Bill and Ted.
Actually on Broadway or in theater together.
Oh.
I can't remember which play it is, whether it's I don't know if it's Waiting for Godot or I don't know, but yeah.
Did you watch the new Death Wish with Bruce Willis a few years ago? Did you? Yeah. Not the same. Not that it was good. It just didn't have the same vibe to it.
Yeah.
As the Charles Bronson ones.
Yeah, I mean, he was he was good fun. I think sometimes it's just nice to just hit one of those old actors' names into the search engine of whatever streaming service you're watching, and just pull up these films. James Garner's another one.
Oh, he's a favorite of mine, James Garner.
He's great, James Garner.
Yeah. Like my favorite television show of all time is The Rockford Files. I've got them all on DVD, and that's the only TV series I've got on DVD, and that's The Rockford Files, and that tells you everything you need to know right there. Well, except I got some Star Trek too. But
who was his father? It was quite a famous old actor.
Noah Beery Jr.
That's right.
I just saw him, like the Western I watched. Speaking of Westerns, I watched The First Fast Draw with Glenn Ford. And it's kind of a psychological Western, but it's got Noah Beery Jr. in it as one of the heavies.
Yeah.
And it was actually pretty good. A different kind of Western, that one. Black and white. But Glenn Ford, he's sweaty through the whole thing. Like he's got this sheen of sweat on his head, and he's like anxious through the whole movie. But it might be worth a watch.
Yeah.
Like Glenn Ford, I mean, you can't go wrong. I love Glenn Ford and anything he does. Like 3:10 to Yuma, he did such a good job as a bad guy in that one. The first one.
Yeah, he's not often a bad guy, though, is he?
No. He was in the Sackett's miniseries with Tom Selleck. Probably one of the last things he did. I don't know. Well, he did Superman too. He was Jonathan Kent in the Superman movie. But he played Tom Sunday in the Sackett miniseries.
Robert Fars is amazing, and his buddy James Margulies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Gary Cooper myself. I don't know.
I like Gary Cooper. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm always happy that he's kind of English.
Gary Cooper?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was born to actually 2 English parents, and he went to boarding school in England for a bit. So.
And he played the Virginian in a movie, didn't he?
I know. That's the
Smile
funny
when
thing.
you call me that.
He's like this epic, symbol of Americanness. And actually, he was born there, and he was from, I don't know, Missouri or somewhere, I guess. I can't remember exactly. Montana, maybe.
Oh.
All the M's.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I've got to see where he's from now. Hang on, I'll just bring it up. Montana, yeah. Helena, Montana. And it said he was born in Helena, Montana, the younger of 2 sons of English immigrant parents, Alice and Charles Henry Cooper. And then it said his mother came from Gillingham in Kent and married Charles in Montana. They had a 600-acre, 7-barn-9 cattle ranch.
Wow.
Yeah, and then his mother wanted the sons to have a British education, so she took them back to the UK to enroll them in a school there. So there you go.
So he's authentic, though. He's got a foot in both camps, pretty much.
Right, yeah.
Wow.
Of course, the real people in these Westerns would probably have been like that anyway. Probably would have been
without a doubt.
Immigrant parents and stuff. Yeah. Immigrants themselves. So pretty cool. Anyway, I think we'll stop there. If you agree, I've got to take Elvis out. But thank you so much, Jim, for joining me. And
thank you
so much to everybody for watching and for all the wonderful comments. And yes, I guess we will see you later. No. See you later, everybody.
Thanks everyone.
So much. Do take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.